welcome to our first episode of Ageless Future podcast. I'm Kati.
And I'm Casey.
And we're fourth year digital business students, and today we're going to be exploring how technology, storytelling, and human connection can come together to support older adults and their families.
So for the app of the day today is Kin Capsule. Kin Capsule is a personal digital creative space. Its purpose is to be built for storytelling and preserving and sharing your legacy, designed to create social connections and ensure your stories live on.
Which leads us to the founder of Kin Capsule, our today's guest, Daniel Findlay, who is a customer professional and a leader with experience in disruptive technology, business development, and strategy. Daniel has worked with organizations of all sizes, from very big companies to startups and government agencies, helping them use technology to solve real-world problems. In this episode, we'll talk about how personal experience can lead to systematic change, what it means to design technologies for older adults, and also how we can make storytelling a tool for both care and connection. Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. It's great to be here, and thanks for having me. My name is Daniel Findlay. I am the one of the founders and CEO of Kin Capsule. We're a storytelling platform. Think of us as a digital museum of your personal and or family and or organizational life experiences, stories, memories, etc. And our mission is to leverage storytelling as the vehicle to connect people in meaningful ways, to activate and engage with families, with caregivers, and to help organizations drive person-centered care. I'm based in Toronto. I spent 20 years in technology career. Before this, my background is business, and I've always been selling and consulting on big, medium, and small technologies for countries all over the world.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so this leads me to the segment called the Icebreakers. I'm going to do rapid fire questions for you. It's just a few, but it's just to get a feel on what your opinions are and, just break the ice. So your first question for today is, do you think that tech confusion increases anxiety in older adults?
Yes.
Okay.
And my little ad will be that I've seen it happen before me.
Yeah.
I think there is there can be a fear of tech because tech is typically designed for younger adults, not older adults, and so that can drive a bit of fear and anxiety.
And your next question is, have you seen older adults kind of get frustrated with their smartphones since this is an app?
I have seen older adults. Yes, I have seen them. Yeah, I think I've seen every age category.
That's true.
With the phone.
That's true.
but that would include older adults as well. Yes, just keep that in mind. As we're an aging planet, that is changing rapidly.
Yes.
Because just think about it. Gen X, who is the digital adopter age, they will be the oldest Gen X's will be in retirement age in the next 5 years.
What makes Kin Capsule different than a social media platform? Because I can tell, but for some people from the outside might not be able to.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So first of all, when we came up with the idea and went through a long process of making a business plan, design, what are the problems, or what's the single problem that we're solving, and how do we actually roll that out into an app that is accessible, that is easy to use, and that is solving a problem and satisfies the needs of our target market. One of the core pieces of that is privacy. So you think about, there's a number of apps where you can go create content. Kin Capsule, we're not social media. We are what we identify as personal media.
Yeah.
And personal media is you own 100% of your content, first of all. Privacy, security, encryption is the second piece. We can't use or sell or share any of your content or info.
Yeah.
So that's what makes us different from most apps. But then we are a meaningful, purposeful app. So people come to us when they want to tell their life story. For example, my name Daniel has a story behind it. My parents gave me my name. I'm named after their dating song was Elton John's "Daniel, My Brother." There's many reasons. There's for hundreds of years, there's people in my family named Daniel. So everyone has a unique story, and even the little things that you'd never think of have a story behind them too. And if we don't share these important stories, they go to the grave with us. So it's very important that we share our wisdom, our experiences, our memories, and our values, etc. Because there will come a time where it's very important. So that's what makes us fundamentally different from other apps.
Thank you so much. And then your last question is going to be, do you think today's tech is going to make aging less lonely for our future generations?
I do believe that, and I've seen it firsthand. I think Kin Capsule's front and center in that in the answer to that question. But there are tons of apps that are coming from the startup scene and larger players in the market now who understand and see that there's an aging population. We need to build apps that are easy, accessible, and meaningful in order to keep people engaged.
My question to you is that many founders say their companies started as a personal need that turned out to be relatable to a lot of different people. When you look at the broader landscape of aging and loneliness, what made you realize that your personal experience reflects a systematic problem that affects a lot of people?
Yeah, it's a great question. And our story, Lev Gorman and myself, he's my business partner and co-founder, along with Utku Ozdemir as well. We all have a very personal story that as to where Kin Capsule started from, actually. And for us, it was initially it was Lev and myself, and it was started with my grandfather, in fact, who struggled with physical and cognitive and mental decline near the end of his life, and he tragically passed away early when he was younger in his life. And so my family has seen that firsthand, and similarly with Lev, who has a very incredible story about his grandfather, and then who passed down his stories to his mother, and to Lev's mother, that is, and she ended up getting Alzheimer's. And so even if she wanted to share this sort of library of family history and stories and memories and lessons learned and everything, it was no longer an option because she couldn't, just due to mental decline or cognitive decline. And then she passed away. And so this idea of the family library of lived experiences and memories and stories burning to the ground as people pass is true for us. And every time we talk to someone, they have their own version of this story in their own family, actually. And so that was when we realized that this is a problem that's quite, the problem is very common and it's global. There's no, this is a human problem, and it doesn't matter what you look like or where you come from or how old you are. This is something that's likely relevant in your family somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's when we realized that this problem that we're solving is systemic by nature, just because people die by nature, and so and people live, and storytelling is just, it's a very human thing, right? Every time, in fact, we're doing it now, actually. So every moment that we're communicating with other people is in the form, one way or another, of storytelling.
Yeah.
So that's basically where this came from. But the more we looked into this, we saw aging and loneliness and memory loss, and the more I saw emotional and social dimensions of aging. Kin Capsule was born out of that realization, essentially, that storytelling could be a bridge between generations. It can connect people meaningfully, and we can share and save the most important aspects of our life, and that helps both physical, mental, social, and emotional health.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a very beautiful idea behind.
I really like the idea. I really do, because I actually used to work as a PSW for a while, and I worked in a long-term care facility, and I worked very directly with a lot of Alzheimer patients. And I remember one of our patients was a World War II veteran. And he was always angry all the time. And his family never came and saw him. And his grandchildren were way too young to talk to him or like, you know, converse with him and visit him. So whenever I would come to him, I'd be like, can you tell me a story? And I think that he had such crazy stories to tell. And it was a shame that he had no one to talk to about them. And I felt like he was maybe losing his like cognitive like faster and quicker because he was not able to converse and have these social connections with other people. And so I think that if he was still alive today, I think that he would have loved this app, I think.
For sure.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you say that because the number one longevity determinant is social health, 100%.
Yes.
And Harvard did the longest longitudinal study on this. I think it was over something like 85 years. And that was the outcome, is that more important than any other type of health, physical health included, your social health is the greatest determinant of how long you're going to live in a healthy way, particularly. And our app, for example, we leverage AI and storytelling to inform AI to learn more deeply about each patient or client or resident. If you're in a old folks or senior living retirement community, there's ways that we can use storytelling as the vehicle to inform AI to deeply get to know people, and then it becomes a tool that the caregiver can use, and their care programming becomes much more powerful and personal as well.
Because I remember like that they would always say, like other PSWs would be like, oh, he said he'd be a problem, like he's very angry all the time. But because I took the time to learn his stories and get to know him, I felt like his care was definitely more personal with me. So that's a good one. That's perfect. Thank you.
That's the magic of storytelling.
Yeah.
It's, right.
We interrupt this episode to hear a word from our sponsors.
Ever wonder how family, culture, and community shape our lives as we age? Tune into Reconnected, the storytelling podcast where seniors, professionals, and the occasional wisecracks share what aging really looks like. From family traditions and cultural quirks to life lessons. And yes, the simple joys of maybe getting a good night's sleep. They cover it all.
It's tactful, funny, and packed with stories that will make you nod, laugh, and maybe even say, hey, I do that too. Listen now, because growing older is inevitable, but laughing is optional. So my another question is about digital inequality. So digital inequality means that not every older person has the same access and comfort level and confidence with technology. And so how does King Capsule design around this situation? And also, what have you learned about making tech feel more human, intuitive, and non-intimidating for someone who's not that proficient with technology?
Yeah, another great question. So first of all, our founding team has older adults, and not just the founding team, but the King Capsule team has older adults on the team. Early on in our journey, we had a number of pilot projects with senior living and retirement communities, and we went in to learn about, what our app was doing really well, what our app wasn't doing so well, and part of that was user interviews, ensuring that we were interviewing the people who are using the app, and that way we could make sure that it was big enough to see, big enough so that you could use your fingers to type things that might be an issue for an older audience or user. But this idea of digital inequity, is very real, and not everyone has access, as you say, or confidence, or even trust in new tools. So again, we kind of designed with the mindset of less is more. Although there's lots of things you can do in our app, we've really done a good job, I think, of decluttering each screen so that when you get on there, it reduces options and it reduces stress. And it's more straightforward in terms of what you're supposed to do next. So that means the interface needs to be simple. It can be voice-led where possible, and built around natural human interactions and human instinct, where you think you should go next. So we've built as much intuition in the app being intuitive as possible. And we've also learned that it's not just about usability, It's about emotional tone. So adults, older adults in particular, don't want to feel like they're being tested by technology, right? They more want to feel like they're being guided.
Yeah.
And so that's why we use warmth in our language. We kind of use universally understood and intuitive icons, and avoid as much as we can. There's always room for us to improve, but we want to avoid being techie as much as possible.
Just think we've all been using IG or Instagram or TikTok or whatever for a while. Think if you didn't know how to use social media and you were getting on for the first time, it would be impossible. It doesn't matter how young or old you are, you'd be like, what the heck is going on?
I feel like it's great because even
there's so
me, like
much
I'm
coming at
very
you.
well versed
And
with
we started out that way,
technology,
actually.
but I
Our
often
first
some
iteration,
apps or
we
something
had a
on my
whole
laptop,
bunch of
like
stuff. It was kind of a
get very
dashboard
frustrated
view, which was
about
interesting
certain
for
apps.
if
and
you
I don't
know
know
the
what
app.
to do.
It
Yeah,
You don't know
yeah.
where
To
things
have a
are.
starting point
Sometimes
as a
on
homepage.
Instagram, like
But
I've
it was
used this
just
for how many years? I
lots,
don't know
and
where
people
this
just-
is.
Found
Yeah,
people just
yeah.
looking at it, going, you know what? Forget it.
We've all been
I'm
using
gonna start it.
IG or
Very
So
TikTok or whatever
we've
Yeah.
really trimmed it back, and it's really less is more, and we're finding that initial exposure to King Capsule is much easier, much more friendly
There's so
with our
much
users.
coming at you. And we started out that way, actually. Our first iteration, we had a whole bunch of stuff. It was kind of a dashboard view, which was interesting for if you know the app, it would be an interesting view to have and a starting point as a homepage. But it was just lots, and we found people were just looking at it going, you know what?
Overwhelmed.
Forget it. I don't want to start it.
Very overwhelmed, I
So
assume.
we've really trimmed it back, and it's really less is more, and we're finding that initial exposure to King Capsule is much easier, much more friendly with our users.
That makes sense. Now that we've talked already about like the UX and UI about the app, what about the adoption? Because obviously it probably is a struggle as it is for most age tech products. How does King Capsule overcome this challenge, and what have you learned about this unique adoption style and behaviors of older adults?
Yeah, so what we have found is, again, this is an aging population. So we're finding that more and more older adults are much more comfortable and much more tech savvy, if you will, in using technology. We know that although we're personal media, there is some overlap with how social media works in terms of the app itself. So if you can use Facebook, you can use King Capsule easily, in fact. So that's one thing. We wanted to make it a very comfortable, familiar experience, but also in many cases depending with some older adults, the family members are going to be the ones who help, and they're going to help. They're either going to do some of the storytelling or story building in the app, and so we wanted to make an app that was really inclusive for the whole family and easy for people to kind of hop in and get access to things. Because again, it's going to be family members, and it's this intergenerational kind of approach that's going to make the building your digital family museum of stories, experiences, and memories easier. So that's how we've kind of done it. We've built with the whole family or community in mind, where people can actually come in and help each other. Because making an easy to use app that's very easy to adopt, you can always get better and better and better at that. So we know that we're on a never-ending journey there.
Yeah.
So if we're making it easy for people to help each other, then that's the kind of the best path for us.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring it back to being PSW again. But I had one patient who was also, her family was very involved in teaching her the tech, and she's very, very cognitive. I think she was 90 years old at the time, and she always would FaceTime, call, chat with her family members. But sometimes when you're so busy as a person, you can't always be calling your loved ones all the time, like her daughter, for example. And I think that King Capsule is so great because she's able to still talk and just have the social cues still without there being like a physical person in front of her, and still share the stories, and maybe her daughter could go on to watch them later on in the day.
Absolutely. You just made me think of something else too. AI, as we talked about before, AI is certainly front and center of this whole age tech, this rush to age tech. And if it used to be that if you were talking about AI, people would be like, huh, what are you sort of talking about, and how we're going to leverage this? And now it's actually changed so much in just a few years. that if you're not talking AI, you're going to be left behind. That's how drastic it's changed. But to make things easier, AI, for us too, so we're building, it will be completed before the end of this year. Our AI agent will be able to talk with and be a companion to anybody, including older adults, but it will be able to interview you too. So that will make it a lot easier. So you won't have to be dependent on other people to help you. You'll have an AI agent right in front of you that will ask you the questions and do the work for you. So that's another really key component of this. And the cool thing too is that Kin Capsule, once you have your stories, multimedia, so it could be video, voice notes and audio, text, documents, whatever it is, pictures, with a single click of a button, you can create an actual physical book or digital book as well. So this is kind of gamifying for the older adult.
Yeah, that's nice.
Everyone wants to everyone needs to be working towards a kind of a goal, and a book is a great way to do that.
Advice to families who avoid conversations about aging, legacy, and memory, what would you tell them?
Yeah, it's a very good and interesting question, and there's probably a number of things I'd probably want to say, but if I was to kind of boil it down to one that's relevant for the Kin Capsule business, is I tell families, don't wait for the right time to do this, because there's never a right time. It's never perfect. But if you don't start asking yourself questions or asking your loved ones questions about their life, about their experiences, about their values, about lessons they've learned, about their life story, then again, these stories, they all live here. There's no public record for this stuff except for right here, many of these stories.
Yeah.
And so if we're not engaged the way we should be with ourselves and with the family and with people around us, these stories and these experiences and lessons go to the grave with us. So don't wait for the right time, because it won't come. You just got to start it. And so that's what I would tell most people. That's what I tell everybody about what Kin Capsule is all about, and about doing your own life review and your life story.
Let's move on to relevant tech news. Recently, I found an article about KFF Health News, and it was an article highlighting new research showing that older adults who regularly use digital tools, computers, online apps, tend to have better brain health and a lower risk of cognitive decline. Experts believe that this happens because technology encourages mental stimulation, problem solving, and social engagement. So my question to you, Daniel, how do you see storytelling platforms like Kin Capsule contributing to that kind of cognitive engagement?
Yeah, I think it's storytelling requires lots of cognitive function, and that's why it's such a good exercise, right? If you want to be it's being in physical shape is very obvious what we need to do. Same for cognitive health and mental health. So cognition is one part of mental health, and storytelling requires you to access memories in your brain and then fill it with context and put the story together and then actually articulate it, which is an incredibly complex process where the synapses are going and you and thoughts, you're thinking about things, you're pulling memories. So it's a very good cognitive exercise. But storytelling requires someone to tell the story and someone to listen to the story too. So this is where people can connect. And if we're telling meaningful, purposeful stories, then there's a really good chance that people are going to feel connected in a meaningful way to something, and that's what's going to drive the social health. So I think that the future for storytelling and content creation apps and social connection apps like Kin Capsule, I think they're a very important part of driving these great mental and physical health outcomes.
Yeah,
we agree. Anyhow, Thank you so much for chatting with us, Daniel, and sharing Kin Capsule with us. We encourage our viewers to go home and take a look and check out Kin Capsule. Share your stories. If there's one thing you can do today is to encourage you to sit down with one of your family members and ask them to tell you a story about their past. Maybe you'll learn something new about them or yourself. We'll see you next week on our next episode of where you can explore brain maintenance. That's all for now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.